Can we kill the sun using only water? This may seem like a stupid, useless question, but it has some interesting results. But before that, let's study about the sun. In many NCERT textbooks, you will find that the sun is a huge ball of hydrogen on fire. But technically that is inaccurate because the sun does not have oxygen to burn anything. Hydrogen cannot be burned into water in absence of oxygen. Otherwise the sun will be losing 2 million kilograms of water per second. So that is inaccurate. The sun is actually powered by fusion. And the process is exactly how it sounds. It's the fusion of 2 hydrogen nuclei to create 1 helium nuclei. And in this process, some mass is lost and that mass is converted into energy due to this particular tiny little equation. Oh, one quick small note here about the process of fusion. The fusion occurs between 2 hydrogen molecules, not nuclei, 2 hydrogen molecules or 4 hydrogen nuclei and gives helium nuclei, 1 helium nuclei. And then you may say this is kind of confusing because the mass of hydrogen molecule is 2 and we have 2 of them, so 2 plus 2, and the helium nuclei's mass is 4, so 2 plus 2 gives 4. Where is the mass defect I was talking about earlier? Well, this is kind of inaccurate as well because the mass of hydrogen atom is 1.00784 atomic mass unit or AMU for short. And we have 4 hydrogen nuclei, so 4 into 1.00784 AMU, and that will give 4.002602 AMU. So there will be a small mass defect, and that small mass difference is the cause for the entire energy output of the sun. This fusion process occurs at extremely high temperatures and extremely high pressures. So it can happen in a star that's comparatively huge and has extreme pressures and temperatures inside the core where the fusion can occur. That's why the sun glows. It's technically not fire, it's only heat and light emitted from the process of fusion. So if the sun is not technically on fire, how will you put it out using water? But still, let's pour the water on the sun and see what happens. Well, something extremely counterintuitive happens. The sun starts to burn brighter and faster. Well, why this happens? Well, the more massive a star is, the faster it burns and the more heat and light it gives off. So if you pour like a bunch, an extremely massive amount of water onto the sun, the mass of the sun increases, thereby increasing the temperature and the pressure of the sun. So the fusion process occurs faster and it releases more heat and light. But this is a doomsday scenario because if the sun burns brighter and faster, its lifetime will decrease, which means, well, for example, now the sun has a lifetime about 5 billion years. But after we pour the bunch of water onto the sun, its lifetime will decrease to 100 or 200 million years, which is not a lot. But this is not the only case of water helping fire. There is also one more case, superheated steam. In this steam molds video, he creates steam using heated water and passes it through a copper tube and heats the end of the copper tube with a blowtorch. And the steam coming out of the other end of the tube is superheated steam, and with that he even lights up a matchstick. That's how hot the superheated steam actually is. It's exactly what the name says, superheated steam. In this case also, water creates fire. And also when you put extremely reactive materials like sodium, potassium, lithium, cesium in water, they actually catch on fire. So if they sit on their own without any water touching it, they'll be alright without getting on fire. But as soon as they touch water, they'll blast into flames. So there are many cases in which water helps to create fire. But the question still remains, can we kill the sun using just water? An immensely huge amount of water? There is one way. We can spread the water so that it covers the entire surface area of the sun, and that will kill the sun for good. How? Well, the amount of water that's covering the entire sun will decrease the density of the sun, which is necessary for the immense pressure needed to keep the fusion process going on and on for like 10 billion years. So if the density decreases, the pressure also decreases, and when the pressure drops below a critical point, the fusion process will stop working, and that means the star or our sun is dead. Let's explore the doomsday scenario one more time. What will happen to Earth after the sun is dead? Well, as I already said, Earth will be dead. But how? Without sunlight, plants will be the first species on Earth to completely die off, because plants get their food, the sugars, from carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight. So without sunlight, they will be the first to die out, and the creatures which are directly or indirectly dependent on them will start dying out step by step. In fact, all the creatures on land and some of the creatures in sea will all die out. Yes, you heard me right. Some creatures in the sea will die out. Others, which live extremely deep down the seas, will live because they are already living without sunlight. As you may know, water is extremely densely packed than air or any gaseous medium out there. So light can be easily scattered by water than air, which means light cannot penetrate very deep down the seas, which means after about a kilometer or two, the sea will start to become dark, and after a certain limit, no light can enter the sea, which means creatures which live 5 kilometers below the sea level can still live without sunlight, because that's how they have been living all those years without sunlight. Which means in the Mariana Trench, the deepest spot known in planet Earth, about 11 kilometers below sea level, there are creatures who are still living and thriving and reproducing and doing whatever they want under the seas without any light, and they will still live regardless of the sun. They never know if the sun even existed. They lived all these years without a teeny tiny bit of sunlight. Even if our Earth becomes a ball of ice, lifeless and cold, just rotating around in the solar system, life will still continue to live underneath the icy ball of wasteland. Do you know one more place where life might exist underneath oceans? Jupiter's moon, Europa. Scientists have discovered that there is a huge underground ocean, so enormous that it covers the entire moon underground, about 11 kilometers deep from the surface of the moon. How do they know this fact? Well, they observed the hypothermal vents on the surface of Europa. They have seen that the water from the underground ocean is ejected into space by these hypothermal vents as seen in this image. So who knows, life might exist under these huge underground oceans. But will we ever land on these exotic worlds other than our moon? Not possible. In our lifetimes at least. After at least a century of technological advancements, we may send humans to live on other planets or other moons. But in our lifetimes, we are stuck on our planet Earth, which is kind of a bummer. There is a lot we miss out on in the future. For example, in the extremely distant future, or about 5 billion years from now, the Andromeda galaxy will collide with our galaxy, the Milky Way, and will create a new galaxy, Milkomeda or Milkdromeda, which will be a spectacular event to see from our Earth. But we cannot live up to 5 billion years. In fact, our lifetime is negligible compared to 5 billion years. So yeah, there will be a lot to miss out on in our lifetimes. We have a lot of technological advancements to do, but instead of worrying about that, be the change you want to see in the world. Bring the technological advancements yourself. Be the change you want to see in the world. And also, as in Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, you might be our missing piece. And as always, thanks for watching.